What is up, everyone? I'm Jeff Lund, and this is the Mediocre Alaskan podcast, where we are intolerant of weak-minded attitudes that keep people from pursuing new and exciting things in the areas of fitness, outdoors, and general lifestyle. One of the main things that I've always wanted to do with this podcast is to link up people with experts. As someone who has so much to learn, I will never claim to be an expert of anything, because once you claim that you're an expert, then you don't think you can grow anymore, and there's a lot out there to learn. So I talked to Brent and Ryan Cole from Drop Shot Calls, and we are at their workbench. So as the recording is going on, sometimes you'll hear sanding because they're working on those amazing drop shot calls that everyone loves. So great information here about how to call, when to call, and some rut tactics and some good stories. So that's coming up here on episode 68. Make sure you check out the Mediocre Alaskan MediocreAlaskan.com for other information in addition to the podcast. And here we go with episode 68.
It's kind of hard to say, when you got that real obvious cold snap. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, here we go. But when it's just nice and warm like it has been, it's kind of hard to determine, when it's time.
It's felt a lot like...
So you just keep going and going and going, and then finally you figure it out. Oh, okay, it's time now.
Yeah. What's, without, you don't have to give, your secrets away, but what type of call do you hear or do you feel works the best?
As far
as...
how we
three longs, is it short long? Is it a consistent sound? Is it a warbled song or sound? What are you looking to do?
I think what works the best is just most responsive for us is.
So pretty consistent.
That's it. Just one or two.
Just that one, and usually, I don't know. It's all instinctual as far as how long to wait and everything, because you know how it goes. You stand up and there he goes.
Yeah. How long do you typically wait? Is it just feel, or is it, you set a timer for 18 minutes?
We ought to set a timer. Yeah. We always talk about we should do that, but we have never done that. It's all feel. Just we should keep moving, or I'm getting cold, let's go. Or it looks really good. We're standing on a fresh set of tracks, and there's fresh rubs everywhere. Last window, maybe we don't have enough daylight to move forward, so let's just sit here and
just hunker down and wait it out.
Yeah.
What's the longest you've waited?
An hour.
In one spot, we waited an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
We literally moved 15 feet.
And that was the case. There was not enough light to go to another spot, so let's just hang out here.
Anything come in?
There's snow on the ground, there's fresh tracks, fresh roads, fresh shit, and right at dark.
Yeah,
here he comes.
We were calling it. We were sitting there having a conversation, just like you do after an hour and a half of sitting and waiting. Yeah. And we were having a conversation,
and then and we quiet. We start talking again, and here he is. He just strolls through the muskeg, stops right in front of us. We're sitting on a log, and he just stands broadside looking at us.
Unreal.
Yeah,
Brent's got an open sight, 35 special Marlin, and dropped him right there.
That was pretty fun.
That was fun.
Do you ever think of how many deer you've left out there because you left too early?
Yeah,
I think about that all the time.
Yeah,
think about how many deer you walk past while you're
walk
there.
right by.
They're just staring at you.
Yeah. That's all they got to do.
How many deer you drive past every morning?
Oh. Yeah. I can't imagine doing the whitetail program where you're on that private land. You have to sit there all day. You're out there for 8-10 hours.
Yeah.
In the stand,
and you only got this one option. Yeah, and
this is the exact option. You got your 3 weekends or whatever it is, and that's.
Yep.
I can do that. I find myself. It's hard to get 20 minutes.
Yeah. Likewise.
You get to get about, it's been a little bit. Check the watch. It's been 7 minutes. Dude, this is
that's exactly how it is, too.
Yeah.
Time just doesn't fly when you're sitting there in dead silence, just hoping that the nice one walks out.
Yeah.
Patience is not one of our strong points, I don't think.
So what happens when you call something in that you're not necessarily looking to shoot?
Wait. Don't move.
Yeah, we just wait. Sometimes we'll just see how he responds to the call or what we're doing, and maybe we'll pull out some rattles or a grunt and
do a
play
little
with him that
field
way.
research, so to speak. Yeah.
Do it with those too.
Yeah.
So how'd you develop the sound for this one? Was there? And this is all a side job too. You have your regular job. So why did you start to make calls, and then how did you perfect the sound? How did you get that right? How long did that take?
You can field that one, bro.
We have wanted to get our hands on a good deer call forever, and
Those plastic ones from the store, the cold one.
yeah,
How
we
many
used
of
to
those
buy one or
everybody has
two a
anyway?
year,
Okay.
and and that's what it takes. You got to buy one or two a year for to keep one in your pocket. But just started making our own. It was just like a piece of cake.
Yeah.
We knew we've got friends that we grew up with. Their dads used to make deer calls all the time, so we learned a lot from other people. But yeah, I mean, you talk to anybody and they'll just tell you, well, just make one. It's pretty easy. Rubber band or friction tape or whatever, and a couple pieces of wood. Started making them. Friends were like, hey, how much you want for this one? I'll buy these. And started expecting a child on the way, and thought, could really use some extra cash flow. And then it went from there. That's how it basically, okay, we should sell these things.
That's how drop shot started blossoming.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we've been hunting for our whole lives, since we could walk, and
But we've
hunting
been
is just a passion in general. So having a call is it just kind of follows suit, really.
So you used friction tape.
Yep.
And how do you decide on the design? There's a lot of different, if you look at deer calls, it just kind of has a unique look to it. Was that all purposeful? Like, does it serve you guys work with wood and music wood, and so is there like an acoustic value to how it's put together, or?
Well, I guess we could start with the simple fact that when we began making calls, it was just calls to make a deer call, so we could call deer in. We weren't worried about how it looked or anything. We weren't worried about finishing them or anybody buying them. It was just enough for us. That's it, no problem. And so we were just using just pieces of wood, just something like this.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those.
Yeah, and you just carve out a little bit in the middle and sand it as much as you need to, put a little piece of tape in there, and if it works, great. But then when somebody wants to start buying them, I mean, you can't just sell sticks,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so then we had to kind of refine our process. And in the meantime, we started refining everything from not only how it looks, in the shape, but also in the finish, and then examining the inside and how the reed sits, which is the most important part, and figuring out what do we have to do to achieve the sound that we want to hear, not just to achieve any sound that works.
Yeah.
How do we achieve what we want to hear? And that is by changing the depth and changing the length, or changing the size of the friction tape, or changing the thickness of the friction tape. There's so many different variables
The
that go
tension
into
of the
this,
friction tape.
and it's all learning. And if we're not making our calls better, then what are we doing except for just working backwards?
Yeah.
So we try to just keep it up, keep it
Yeah.
going up.
It seems like it'd be almost impossible for each to be exactly the same.
Yeah, there
But
are.
would you
all
say that
hand-tuned.
all of them are very, very close, or as close as possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happens if you say that if you like sand it down a little bit, or you carve out a little bit too much?
Yeah.
What
Take
do
it
you
back to
do?
the sandpaper and
is it over? Like, is it ruined? Like, is there anything you can do about it? Or?
No, you just do the opposite of what you just did, I guess.
Yeah. Just
So-
take it back out.
So these, the reed slot was too wide, right? It was too gappy, too airy. So what we do is we lay down a flat piece of sandpaper like this, and we just take off this material on the outsides, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then that'll just close that up. And then, a couple swipes, check it, look through it through the light,
None of it's rocket science. It's all, it's all pretty straightforward
Yeah, it
stuff.
is
It's
really
just
straightforward.
experience that tells you
Yeah.
what you're looking for exactly. And like you say, we're wood guys, so the coolest part about all this is seeing how different things turn out.
Yeah.
Like that one right there
That's
is
beautiful.
the same piece of wood as this.
That's art.
You can see that color pop out of that one. You can see a little bit more of it in here when it's before it actually gets finished, because it darkens up and kind of homogenizes, I guess, if you will. But let's see what else we got here. So then this one is that similar piece of wood. But being able to see, I guess, kind of what you're aiming for before you even start, that's a cool thing.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine that everybody who does this has this level of meticulous approach. Because there's some people are selling them, for a couple bucks, but you guys really take pride in that. So.
Well, yeah, and sometimes you can read people and they're like, I don't know, it's kind of a lot, but at the same time, sometimes sometimes we feel like we're sacrificing too. Like, I don't know, we put a lot of time into that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little give and take. So we sort of have compromised, and I know other people have compromised by buying our calls. When they can go get a $40 call from somewhere else, or a $12 call from down south or whatever. But I gotta say that we put a lot of time into this, and that's I think that's what sells them.
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
the fact that we have so much pride in what we do here.
Yeah. Well, I think people recognize anything that you buy, you're buying whoever is selling it or making it too. So I think that most of it has to do with not only that it's a quality product, but also that you guys and the passion that you guys have in what you're doing. You guys are knowledgeable. I think that goes along with that too. What's the daily routine? You guys were out hunting today, and now you're working on this. Your daily work routine, working downstairs, and you come up here to the table to do the calls.
Daily routine. There's really no daily routine around here. Alaska Specialty we're always doing something different. But day to day, we do have an 8 to 5 job. It's our business, but if we don't take our own business seriously, who's gonna?
Yeah.
And this is kind of a side gig. We have a lot of pride in it. This is our passion, drop shot calls. But Alaska Specialty Woods is the family business, and it pays the bills. It's our bread and butter. And a lot of this around here we couldn't do without having Alaska Specialty Woods.
Yeah.
We have a dad to thank for that. But it's a team effort. So yeah, we'll 8 to 5. We'll do whatever we got to do. And sometimes it's 8 to 7. Sometimes it's 8 to 6:30. If we're unlucky, I guess. But then it's just we come up here and crack a beer and sit down and get to work. And sometimes we put in an hour. If we're not feeling it, sometimes we put in 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever we can really. And sometimes I'll show up a little bit early before work and put in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
We just get in where we can fit in out here and try and make it all work out, because we know people are waiting for their calls. There's a pretty solid demand for them, which we're pleased with, but we just wish we could do more.
Mm-hmm. How long does one take?
It all really depends on the wood, the design. There's diamond designs, and I think we have one here. The diamond designs are definitely a little more tedious because they have more corners and edges and stuff like that we got to finish out. But
And why
generally
the
about
diamond
3 to
design
4
on
hours.
this?
Well, when we started selling to the guy over in Ketchikan,
Bodale.
Bodale,
Yeah.
he recommended that we come up with something that had 4 corners attached. So this is what we came up with.
Yeah, he basically just asked us to attach it on 4 corners, and we kind of racked our brains on how we're going to do that, and we had a couple
Make
other
it efficient, efficient
models.
to build. So you ain't spending too much time on a call that you're only getting this much money for. It's got to add up.
Yeah.
But then we figured that out, and the design really worked, and I really like it. The only difference is, I guess, is when you have to go to tune them in, and we make these hopefully so that nobody has to tune them in. But if you do, we make them so you can. And I should probably go get mine so I don't take one of these back apart.
You can take one of these apart.
So I'll take that one apart. So if we get out in the woods and we're not confident in how our call sounds. Well, it sounds okay, but it might have a little bit too much space in the reed there. I'll just take it back apart and just start messing with it. And you got to undo the lanyard, which that's probably about the hardest part of the whole situation. But once you get that lanyard off, you just pop these little friction tape pieces off of here.
Shrink tubing.
How often
shrink tubing.
do you do that in the field? Like how often do you?
I haven't done that for ever.
Haven't done it for a while.
I have 2 or 3, so it's just like what 2 sound the best. Those
okay.
2 are
Yeah.
coming with me.
Yeah, that's usually how it works out, and mine have been pretty much on point, but I had to mess with them at first. So then I'll take it right apart, and I'll peel this friction tape up. Usually it's just one side. I'll just peel up one side, loosen it up in there a little bit, and then lay this on there. Just lay the other piece right on top of it. And then if you look through there, you can see, I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah,
well.
okay, yeah.
So it's real loose. And then I'll just lightly pull that as I tune it in. And that's really all it takes. Just one little, like that.
Just snug, not too tight.
Really snug, not tight. Because once I tighten it up, it just gets, higher pitch. And then when you go take it out in the field, if the climate's a little bit different, then it'll get even tighter and it'll have that pop zing before it goes. And I don't really, that can be trouble. That can scare the deer away.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
But we're just looking for consistency, and so we'll take and put these all together, and they'll sit here for a week before we even tell anybody that we have a call, because if they're not sounding good to us, then we don't send them out.
Well, I hadn't even thought. It makes sense, but is it an indication of just how it sounds, or have you gone a couple hours and you haven't called anything in yet? What's kind of?
Well, we've definitely gone plenty of hours and not called anything in.
So you can feel really good about how it's sounding and not calling anything in and feel good about it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes there's just not a deer there. Or sometimes they're just not interested.
I mean, I've heard quite a variety of different sounds call in deer. Anything from chainsaws to crunchy snow. Circumstances definitely. They're under the right circumstances.
So that's just years and years of experience.
I would think so. Yeah. Just our own experiences. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't. Neither of us would sit here and claim that we know
It all.
really anything about it. We just know what works for us, and what we've experienced. One thing that we've experienced is deer and rut will come to pretty much anything.
How important do you think that is, that people just feel good about their program rather than just try to buy stuff to make up for a lack of experience? I've only been hunting for about 6 years, and this year more than any. Last year got 4 deer. It was awesome. Just felt like I was starting to figure stuff out. And then this year, just 1 in the Alpine. Right. And that's it. Just been out every weekend except for 2 the entire time, which is just a reminder that, dude, you've only been doing this for about 6 years, and there are no shortcuts. What would you recommend to people who are just kind of getting started?
Keep trying.
Perseverance.
Keep trying. Because one thing that we laugh about is how nonchalant we used to be just about going out, go on Carhartts and our Helly Hansen gear and just kind of like tromp around in the woods, wasn't paying any attention to wind direction, I
Nothing.
mean, you name it. Really, we were just
went.
we were just hoping for the best, and things paid off. It just paid off. I mean, yeah, you have a little experience about maybe to go look around that corner, or to go check this little area out or something, but I mean, really, it was just all trial and error this whole time. And I think even if you do have a lack of experience and you want to go buy some nice equipment to try and compensate for maybe some of that, the right tools for the right job. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, if you have the right tools for the right job, you're already doing a little better than somebody that doesn't have the right tools for that job. And so, yeah, maybe you go buy the top of the line gear, but you don't know anything about it. Well, there's still room to learn. I think it's a good start. We're always pretty excited when people are dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
We like that,
Well, yeah.
especially with the right
As
mindset.
far as clothing, apparel, being comfortable in the woods is certainly important.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Keeps you from wanting to give up.
the motivation to go a little farther. Yeah.
Like today. Today, man, it got pretty wet out there, and if I didn't have the proper gear, I might have wanted to go back to the truck a little sooner.
You guys going a long drive or a short drive?
Today we went on a pretty long drive,
Yeah.
and then a pretty long walk.
Yeah, we're usually hiking. We're not usually driving around this time.
Yeah. What about elevation? Like, is there a kind of a cutoff to where you're not really going up?
I ain't gonna
Too
go up to the
much, is it?
snow. Snow line is about the highest we're gonna go up, but this year was kind of weird. There was no snow.
Yeah.
It's been
Just
so
a
warm.
little bit of a dusting up on the tallest ones.
It was literally just right below Alpine is the cutoff,
We've been hunting high.
about 1,500
This
feet.
rut, yeah. Yeah, we've been hunting.
15 to
probably
18?
between. Well, I'd say 1,000 and 15 would be more average, but we've definitely been up to 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been
That
seeing
was a
bucks
couple
up there.
weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
At least fresh sign,
Yeah.
good rubs and stuff like that.
We got a couple, what was that, last weekend? 2 weekends ago. 2 weekends ago. We got a couple at about 15 to 1,600 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Seen 4 bucks up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where they were hanging.
Yeah,
weren't
they were
down
all
low.
together. We didn't see a single doe.
Hmm.
They were all responding to the call.
Nice.
They all came to the call.
Yeah, the people get excited about when the snow does push them all the way down to the beach and just, beach hunting. But man, I can't stand.
It's cold.
Trolling is trolling. It's kind of boring at times. Beach hunting is fine, but can be boring at times.
It can be cold.
Yeah, I like the activeness. I want to feel like there's something that I can be doing in order to increase the odds or success. And so if you're just locked into
That's kind of where we're at with it too. I mean, if you drive roads, but most of these deer are just going to be standing in the woods right off the side of the road anyway.
Yeah.
You're not going to see them regardless.
yeah,
But we like to hike. We like to go. If we think that somebody else thinks it's going to be hard, we'll go there just because it's going to discourage somebody else from being there.
What about muskegs versus hunting in the timber? Some of those areas it's too loud to go through the timber, but some of that deep timber where it's just all moss, not a lot of food in there. But do you mess around with getting in, or you just stay on the edge of the muskegs and just try to call them out?
We'll go through the strips of timber, and if it looks good, we'll stop and call in there. We'll hang out in there, but just passing through, I don't think we actually target those areas. Usually the fringes, where the openings are, the muskegs, the little clear cuts, slides. Any little opening where the vegetation can grow.
Yeah, three priorities. You need shelter, right? You need food, and you need water.
Yeah.
And if you got all those things, deer are probably going to be pretty happy. Old growth forests will definitely hold, plenty of food, but a second growth forest might not have the same amount of nutrients as an old growth forest just because the biodiversity hasn't developed in there yet. clear cuts hold a bunch of food,
Yeah.
but they don't hold much shelter. So if you find a nice clear cut next to a nice strip of timber, next to a nice muskeg, you might be onto something, right? Because then they got all three things there. That's one thing that we found is that above all else, deer need food. Gotta have the food. And I mean, you get some of that like 50-year-old reprod or 30-year-old reprod, you know, it's 70 feet tall. There's nothing underneath of it. It's just all dead trees underneath of it. Like that's, deer will be in there. You'll find them in there, but I don't think it's really necessarily where they want to be.
Moving through rather
I think
than
they just end up.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a couple people post photos of stuff that looked like it was in timber. You just catching just as lucky as catching something in the muskeg that you didn't even call to, just happened to be walking through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we ran into them in the timber as well. It's in our experience, it's not necessarily what we're going for though.
Yeah.
It's harder hunting. You can't see as far.
But it's beautiful. I love the timber.
It's warmer usually.
Nice in there.
Oh, you're so quiet too, like a ninja.
so
There's
quiet.
no sloshing, there's no boot sucking muskeg. It's pretty cool in there.
Yeah.
I love seeing deer in the timber. But I mean, even in the muskegs, we don't dive out into the muskegs. We like those cedar fringes that are right on the right on the edges. I mean, yeah. Well, Thanksgiving morning we went out. I probably shouldn't share the story, but I missed it. Missed a nice one. Oh man.
Well, anybody who claims to have never missed or never screwed anything up, like they're hard to trust.
That's a fact. If you're that good.
Yeah.
No, it's always kind of brutal on the ego, but I guess that's what it's all about. You win some, you lose some. We learn some.
But yeah, go ahead, tell that story.
Oh man, so we just show up and 15 minutes from the truck, right? I get up on this nice ridge and I'm not exactly sure where to go specifically. How do I want to approach this, right? And so I kind of go a little bit wrong and I get into some brush, and so then I got to flounder through some brush and I try to be as quiet as I can. And finally I break up into some muskeg and I'm expecting virtually nothing. I'm just standing there and find a nice little hill to glass out of, get a good visual anyway. And so I'm looking way out over this muskeg with my binos, and I just hit the call real soft, 2 times, just real soft. Like if there's something there, they're coming out. And if there's nothing there, then at least I ain't scaring them away, right? For the rest of the hunt, that is. So I'm glassing way out over this muskeg and just kind of have a hunch, and I put my binos down and I look to the left, and just a great, big, beautiful 4-point is standing about 20 yards away, looking right at me. And so I, as slowly and calmly as I can, I put my binos back in my holster and start popping scope covers off. And when I pull up, he starts walking away. But I had a beautiful neck shot, and I took it, and I missed. And then shit just started hitting the fan, and my casing got stuck inside of my gun. And so I'm sitting here trying to keep this deer right in front of me, trying to get my casing out of my chamber, and it's just not working. So I call, and I turn this deer around 3 or 4 times as he's walking away, and he just, what do you want? What do you want? Oh, you're not going to shoot again? Okay, well, I'll keep going. And it was just so painful watching that guy walk away. And so I didn't really have anything else to do. I just sat there and I tried to find some sticks to pop that casing out. And I didn't want to blow my call because I didn't want to call in any wolves. I didn't have any protection, or nothing like that. So finally I just hightail it back to the truck and kind of mope around for a little while. And it's not a real great story, but sometimes you just can't win.
Everyone's been there.
Yeah, everybody's been there.
How worried are you about calling in wolves?
How what?
Have you called in wolves often?
We've called in some wolves. I wouldn't say we're really worried about it.
No, it's not worried until I run out of bullets.
Until you don't have that, peace of mind, I guess. But
actually, we've been looking for wolves all year.
Yeah.
But
And hearing them and seeing tracks, we did see what
we saw one pack.
Yeah.
And that was early, but they're quick.
Yeah. Saw a wolf kill yesterday, and then saw one run across the road in a different spot.
Totally different spot.
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
different spot, like 30 miles away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the wolf estimates are interesting. Some people are 300-400. Some people say 500-600. It's impossible to really tell. But
Yeah, it is. I mean, I could tell you we have been all over, and it just seems like they're everywhere from
They're all over the
All-
south end. That's for damn
from the
sure.
south to the north and everywhere in between, even
Yeah.
on the surrounding islands. So I don't know. Anybody's guess. I don't think you can get an actual number on them.
We saw wolf sign from the beach all the way up to the top of the mountain in one area. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, if you think about like just the logistics of it, and you have a pack of wolves, and you have how many females, and how many females can have how many pups, and
Yeah.
how many times a year can they do it?
yeah.
You know, over and over and over and over again. And if there's nothing checking them, then it's bound to get a little bit out of control.
So
Yeah.
we found 4 or 5 spots that we didn't see an abundance of wolf signs. So those have been the places that we've been going back to this season.
Yeah.
And it's been paying off.
Yeah,
You've
it
been
was
seeing
a
it,
great
and
year.
it's
We had a
been-
great year.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, you still got more time left, right?
I mean, yeah, we do, but it's kind of winding down.
Yeah.
We're not hurting for the meat at the moment. If we get another one, we'll be making some more of those pepperoni
Yeah.
sticks there. That's for
Good,
sure.
good.
Some jerky, stuff you can season up for these. We get our early season deer, and those will go into burger and stuff like that. And then everything else later season will get pepperonied and flavored.
Good snack stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like nobody's business.
What's your favorite way to cook it, like a backstrap? Alpine, it's, you got one on August 1st. Like, what's your favorite
Backstrap.
way to do backstrap?
I think chunked, big chunks, grilled, seared, hot on the grill.
That's what I do.
What do you season it with?
Salt and pepper, some garlic.
Really easy?
Yeah,
I'll do
yeah.
a-
Olive
I'll do a
oil.
pepper and soy sauce, and then I'll throw a little piece of alder in my grill.
Okay.
Yeah,
Get a little smoke.
yeah. Plus, if you take a little chunk of alder and you put it right under your piece of meat, it'll actually broil it, and then after it's done, you just move that piece of meat over, and then you got the smoke inside the grill still. Oh man, it's on point. Yeah. But the cool thing about the chunk is that you can actually control it. Venison is so lean
Yeah.
that it overcooks like that. So that's why I like the big slab, and then I can check the temperature and stuff like that. And I got some well done on the outside, and then that middle chunk I can have for myself. Cammy likes the well done. I like the rare.
Nice. What about heart, liver, anything else?
We make Braunschweiger out of the liver.
Yeah, heart's great. Liver, we're not like liver and onion fans.
No,
but,
I don't eat regular liver.
But
Just-
liverwurst, Braunschweiger, smoked liverwurst. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we make some of that. It's
Okay.
pretty good. It's only like 10% liver, so you don't need
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
I never could do the liver, man.
What about with the heart? What do you do with the heart?
Oh, yeah,
Grill.
Just grill it?
Yeah.
everything,
Fry pan.
whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes they end up in the burger,
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah.
but sometimes they end up right on the grill
Yeah.
on some skewers.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a gift for somebody because people really like heart.
Yeah. You cook it out in the field at all?
We haven't.
We never really do.
Not fresh. We brought, seasoned stuff out of the freezer out and cooked it up at camp or something like that. But no, we've never actually sliced a fresh
Never
piece
eaten
off.
the camp buck. If I were, it would be the loins probably that it would be eaten. Things are still. Even though it doesn't taste bad, it's still a little tough when it's fresh like that.
Yeah.
Be a little tougher.
I've
How about you?
only done heart. It was this last August, and so by the time we got up top, we were going to camp. We dropped off our packs. It was rained. It was so hot for the last part of July and the first week of August. We were up there for
This year was
opener,
brutal.
and it was just way too hot.
I agree.
We're in the tents, but if you're in the tent trying to stay out of the sun, it was just roasting you in there. And so you try to something to get you some shade, and just cooked in there, and then waited for the evening. But after it rained, we got off the mountain and then hiked up in the rain. It was just miserable, but we got one, and then the weather broke, and so we didn't even camp that night. We went back to the truck and had all my camping stuff, my jet boil and all that, and so we're like, might as well just stay out, And so we cooked up the heart and the jet boil with some oil, and had some onions. So
Not bad.
not bad,
Yeah.
not bad. And you don't know if it's not bad or not bad because you're cooking it on the table in your truck, or
Right,
you just got
right.
it that day.
Yeah.
Like, how
Yeah.
can anything taste bad at that point?
Indeed.
But,
That's usually how we are.
There's something about
Yeah.
that.
And once you get back to camp, you're just ready to eat anything.
yeah,
So, have you tried a hammock?
I have a hammock, and I did it for one hunt. It was back in September. Liked it. It got a little bit chilly because you lose so much heat out of the bottom. But you can,
Air mattress, right?
yeah, even with the air mattress,
Oh, okay.
it's still
All
a little bit chilly. So you can get like sleeping bag quilt, or like some quilt to go in the hammock underneath your sleeping bag, and you can do a whole bunch of different stuff. So I liked that a lot, and they're a lot more. You can move a lot more than you think. I thought any sort of movement would roll me out, but like you can go fetal position, you can roll around a little bit, which is pretty nice. So I like that. I'm not sure. Some of that buckbrush up top might be enough to sustain it, but sometimes you need a little bit of elevation. You can't,
Right.
otherwise you're just gonna be right on the ground. But I think it'd be a cool way to. You just go a lot lighter.
Yeah.
But if you include, I was weighing it out, and after I got the hammock, and then the rain fly to go over the top, plus the straps, and
A pad, probably.
yeah, that ended up, like with the sleeping bag, it ended up, like with the straps and everything else, it ended up being about the same amount as my tent.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, I'm saving a lot of space, but not really saving much weight.
Right.
Right.
But, it's not like a decent tent's not gonna be
They got
so
some
heavy.
pretty good tents now. I mean, when we first started gearing up, the tents, even the one-man tents weren't really that great. They were still heavy, and they didn't really, like, they had the carbon fiber poles, but it was still a little new, and they were pretty expensive that way. But we started with our hammocks, and once we figured that out, we haven't gone back.
Really?
I
Just the
haven't
comfort of
slept in
sleep.
I haven't slept in a tent for like 6 years.
Yeah.
I'll come home and sleep in my own bed, and my back will start hurting. Then I'll go sleep in the hammock, and it's good again.
What kind of hammocks you got?
The Grand Trunk, just the cheapo. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know that they're necessarily cheapo, but
It's
they
just-
certainly aren't like the Eagle Nest Outfitters, $70-$80 hammocks.
Yeah, that's what I
It's
got.
like a-
It was on sale. It's a camo. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
A friend of mine had one. This is awesome.
Uh-huh.
So I got one of those.
Yeah,
yeah. I think ours
Yeah.
is a little cheaper version.
yeah.
but, I
It's a
mean,
Grand Trunk, but we use tarp hammocks.
so it doubles as a tarp, kind of a windbreaker. So
Okay.
in your hammock, you probably noticed the wind just blasts right through that
Yeah.
sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the tarp hammocks, you just throw that over you, and it's just a nice shield, a
Mhm.
windbreaker.
So for the Alpine too, when you guys are up there, do you
Yeah.
have to go down in the timber
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit, or all the way up top?
We
Yeah,
pretty much always find a little patch of buckbrush.
Just
I
like
mean,
you were talking.
Just like you're talking. I mean, you're like, oh, well, that's only 4 feet tall. There's no way I can find a spot in there. But you
Yeah.
duck down in there.
Sometimes.
And sometimes not. But
Yeah.
more often than not, we'll find a spot that's, you gotta climb down in there a little bit, but once you get in there, you got a windshield, you
The
just.
thing is, too, we only have to find the spot once. We go back to
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
mountains
that makes
over and
sense,
over,
yeah.
so it's just like that's where we go now. It's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
set up.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
but that's one thing that's cool about the hammocks is not only do you get out a visual sight of any deer that, might be coming by, like you got your own little spot here, it's set apart from everything else, you got a windshield, you can just put it anywhere, you don't have to find a footprint,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
hang it up anywhere.
Well, I figured, especially with this time of year, it's just so wet. And if it's a really wet August, you're worried about, you can get a footprint, whatever. It's just gonna be soaking wet.
Yeah,
And you're gonna
sure.
be carrying all that wet weight down
Yeah.
with you when you're packing off. Not that a couple pounds of water is gonna make a huge
Not
difference.
when
if
you're
you got
going
a
home.
deer, too. Yeah.
Yeah, not when you're going
But-
home, but
Yeah, I'm really excited about the prospects of that, and just how it can really kind of change the game a little bit.
Yeah, it really can. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we never really did put it on the scale to see how it compares with a one-man tent or two-man tent.
No, but this year if you're packing your tent, you're packing your rain fly too, right? So
Yeah,
this year we didn't pack a rain
It
fly
was
at
just
all.
a hammock.
Just a hammock all year
Yeah.
long. It's crazy. We couldn't believe it. We packed a rain fly one time. It didn't even rain.
It didn't pay off. Yeah.
Pretty amazing year for that. I mean, it was
Yeah.
kind of rough, as far as finding deer.
There wasn't
and
many
stuff,
deer on the
but
mountain, but
Right place, right time.
we got lucky this year though. We had that huge hot streak of weather, and then we had like 1 day of solid rain, and we went out the next day, and it was foggy till like 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
Is that like the
in
4th or
morning.
something like that of August?
I think it was more like
Second week, maybe?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, a little
12th
later,
or
okay.
14th
I don't know.
or something
Can't
like
really
that.
say.
But
I have to go back and look, but
it was cool. Then it perked up, and it was nice that day. But it was cool out till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we were hunting all day
Yeah.
long. It was great.
Yeah.
a big
And
one
we
down
seen
there.
we seen a lot of nice bucks that day.
A big one down there. Ryan got it like
4 in the afternoon.
yeah. Yeah, I guess we can just go look and see. You never know. And I mean, shoot, he was 300 yards from camp,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
I mean, he got him at 20 yards, but we didn't hike but 300 yards from camp, and it's like, oh, okay.
It makes it nice because you don't have to worry about being cold, and it's pretty, and you got all that. But man, it's pretty tough to you have that first. It seems like they're going back down or going into the woods like even before.
For
Sunup.
first light,
Yeah,
before
you're not
sunrise,
even-
yeah, we saw that.
We would wake up and be looking across the ridge to where we want to go, and we were already. I mean, first light, you can already see bucks running
Essentially
down the
running
hill.
down the hill, yeah.
Because it's already getting hot.
No, don't want
Yeah,
none of
the
that.
bugs are already coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, those days where it's cool or overcast, got that high ceiling. It's nice that you can hunt you at least have yourself a chance.
Those are the lucky days.
Yeah.
Yeah, just got to keep at it. Keep at it every time, even on those rough days. You just take advantage and learn something new.
Yeah.
Figure out what that bull looks like. Figure out what this bull looks like. Try and find a different way up or a different way down.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
How often do you go to new spots? Like once you have a spot kind of dialed in and you know it kind of produces, what would be your motivation to then leave that and risk?
Find another spot. Just
Yeah,
like
man,
it.
I know where I can go and I can get these. Do that a lot in fishing too. Go to a river. I know I can just crush it here. Why would I not do that again? So how often do you find new stuff?
It's fun to go back to the places that hold big deer because you can have that expectation that you can find something. But it's also fun to see what else is out there. Not only that,
Stuff your pockets full of all these options.
Yeah.
You never know when you're
Get
gonna show up at
overwhelmed,
your
yeah.
favorite spot and somebody's already parked there.
You know,
Well, I
so,
know
I mean, all
another
that
spot
stuff.
right down the road now.
Yeah.
But Ryan and I, we have a hard time sometimes taking more than one deer off of a mountain, especially if it's a nice buck, particularly early season, because it's not going to reproduce anymore if you take it, right? And if you take 2 or 3, then how many nice big beautiful bucks
that's
are
true.
left to reproduce? So we've been over the last few years definitely getting a little bit more into management hunting. I mean, we understand that these areas aren't our own, but we try really hard to get to places that people aren't. And if we can just at least manage our own, I guess ourselves, if we can manage ourselves, like that I think puts us a step ahead in the long run.
My problem this rut was I went to the spot I went last year and got a nice buck, and this year went back and just saw rubs and rubs and rubs. My buddy called it the rub gallery. It's just everywhere. And and that was last week of October, and so I went there, and I'd camped there a couple other times, and it was an access point to the Alpine, so I'd familiar with the area, spent all the time learning it, and I'd walked around. You can cross the creek better here than you can there. The backside of this muskeg is this. I just felt like I learned it, and so I saw those rubs, and I just kept going back there every weekend. every weekend. And I had scouted some other spots, but I didn't even go because I knew that if there's a huge buck, I know, why would I leave this spot?
There's obviously bucks.
I mean, that's the right thing to do. Like that's
I just
Yeah, I would be doing the exact same thing.
never even saw it. So I just look back and I think, maybe I spent too much time in the timber. Maybe what about the program that was different? But man, I even hiked up part of the mountain and was looking down at the muskegs, just to be able to see, okay, when are they moving through? When is anything moving through? And I didn't see anything. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm running out of rut time now. Right, I'm running out of opportunities, and I just keep going to the same spot. I'm doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down in the spot, and never saw one, never got one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that right there alone is why we are constantly trying to get into new area.
Yeah.
Every single year we at least try to hit one brand new area, entirely unknown to us.
Yeah. The last weekend I camped, and then went to a new spot, just kind of clear the air. Like this is my last day hunting this area because the season over there ends sooner.
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna go somewhere else just because it's driving me crazy. And it felt good to just relieve myself of that spot. Say, hey man, you win. That's good.
You win.
Breed. You had fun.
Yeah. Sometimes
Marking
there
up
are
all these trees.
there are no answers to that. It's just is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to blame the weather or blame the moon or
Cycle, yeah. A full moon like last night. In our experience, the bucks are going to be moving a lot at night, and then the deer in general are going to be moving a lot at night, and then not during the day.
Well, I think, like especially when it's a beautiful day like yesterday, a nice bright night with a big full moon, and then a shitty day today, you just got garbage for weather. And why would the deer, if they just had a beautiful day and a beautiful night, why would they go run around in this, rain and wind and sleet and snow?
Don't have to tolerate it. Why do it?
Yeah. So I think that was kind of working against us today for sure. But we went back to the same spot that we saw 3 bucks the other day, just hoping.
And didn't see a single deer,
Didn't see a single deer, not even a doe. Lots of good sign. Lots of good sign.
How many days season do you guys think you hunt?
That's a really good question.
We were just thinking about that today.
I was just trying to add up how many weekends I missed this year, and I think it's 3. So I guess I'd have to figure out how many weekends are in a season. And so far, I've missed 3 weekends. 2 of which because I was out of town, and 1 it was October, and we were like, yeah, okay, not this week. But otherwise, we were hiking alpine into October
Yeah.
this year.
What constitutes a hunt? Some people will consider driving around in their vehicle if they're like driving to Thorn Bay and they have a rifle. Well, I've technically road hunted. They'd count that.
Sure.
Would you count days like that? It's a Saturday. You're going up to Kaufman to get a burger.
I mean, when I say that I've hunted every weekend, I wouldn't count that. For me personally, I wouldn't say that was a hunt for me. You know, Ryan, I've got to at least get out of the truck and check something out.
Yeah.
You know? And that's not just driving to a road and, I might have seen a deer down here, I'll go check that out. No, we put in our time.
Yeah.
We put in our time. You gotta. I mean, if you got the time. If you got the time.
What about miles on a typical rut hunt?
Well, I'll just look at my mileage here.
Look at the old, just like the old days, right? People checking their
I don't know
phones
how
to see
accurate
if
that
those
I don't know
things
how
are, though.
accurate it
I
is.
think it gives you at least a ballpark.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know,
so
like you're
today,
within.
3 miles.
Okay.
3 miles was the day. Last Sunday, no, let's see. Last Saturday was 6.5 miles. Friday was 8 miles. Week before that was 5 miles. 7 miles.
So our longest one this year was 8.
No, I think our longest one this year was, for rut, yeah.
Yeah. And then your Alpine program, is it similar mileage, just tons of elevation?
No, I think we're putting in more like 12 miles.
Yeah.
And that's just a one way to get there.
No.
Oh,
That's-
both
that's-
ways.
That's
Okay.
That's a full.
Yeah,
Okay.
the full hunt. Yeah, back to the truck.
Okay, so you're day tripping Alpine 12 miles day.
That's an overnight.
That'd usually be an overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a 2-day trip.
Yeah, we'll put some miles under ourselves. I think
Typically,
this year,
we aren't usually hunting in the evening. We'll hang out and glass, but not usually walk around too much.
And, you know, the mountains around here obviously aren't 6 miles long, so
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
putting in that much ground. But those mountain miles, they add up.
Yeah, when you
especially
gotta
when
drop
you're carrying your gear
way
around.
down to just look
Yeah.
around the corner.
Those slick days too, when you're just kind of on edge the entire time, and you're constantly fighting to keep your grip. And, you know, you stabilize your hips and knees and ankles and all that stuff. Feel like they're all about ready to go. You get exhausted, but
Man, I can't stress enough how much corks help me.
Yeah.
Just that's all I use. I tried to use some ankle braces this year just to kind of help for the ankle support, but it didn't help at all. Just kind of cut the circulation off my feet. But the extra tough corks, man, it's like Velcro for mountains.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
I did. I got a pair of Danner boots, and then bought the $40 crampons. They go to the bottom of your boot, which is great because then you can take them off if you want.
Yeah, that's always nice, especially if you got to hike some road or something like that before you get to where you're going.
Yeah.
I sometimes I'll pack my corks with me and then take them off when I'm ready to, or put them on when I'm ready to hike something intense,
Yeah.
especially like clear cut. Man,
Yeah.
I'm trying to hike
Those are
clear
good.
cut without corks. But I live by those things, and it's no other way when you're hiking up the mountain. And most importantly, when you're coming down the mountain, right?
Yeah.
I mean, having confidence in your step.
Yeah. The brakes overheat pretty quick when you're going down.
Oh man, those knees.
Got a pack.
How's this Sandy gonna fare on that?
No, no. We'll
Find
see.
out, huh? One thing about all of our calls is that all the wood that we use comes from Alaska Specialty Woods, and all the wood that Alaska Specialty Woods uses is all salvage source material. So that's just, and it's all old growth salvage source material. I think that's one kind of like fine detail that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, and then even like stuff like our, you know, our teak calls, that's just salvage off the beach.
We just found that stuff on the beach.
Yeah, it's floating on the beach, and
Check this
2x3s and 2x2 pieces. Here's a chunk of, we don't even know what it is. We think it might be
I
mahogany.
think it's
but-
mahogany. Look how cool
Wow.
that stuff is.
You would never guess from the outside.
No, we just kind of
Yeah,
have it.
just like,
we
oh,
know what
it's
we're
just-
looking for now on the
Yeah.
beaches, so.
Any old stuff that at Sandy Beach they'd be burning.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. Wow, it's
If it wasn't so heavy and waterlogged, somebody probably would have burnt it already. But yeah, these little timbers like that. And you
And
can
that was probably a piece of trim, deck trim off of a boat,
something like that.
or gunnage on a barge for lumber.
So you go out there specifically to salvage wood, or are you out there fishing and then you happen to pick some stuff up that you see?
We actually, for that particular piece, we were out camping at
There we go.
Amiger Cabin.
Okay.
And we're just hanging out on the beach and seen a 1x4.
And it
Up
had
in
a
the
bunch of
Thailand.
different crazy stripes in it. Now you can't see it from this, but you can't really see it from that. But the way it was positioned, I could just see these different growth lines in it, and you can see the different colors. And wood that we have around here doesn't really look like that.
Mm.
Well, yeah, that might be something cool.
Carved into it with a knife, and yeah, pretty.
So we'll make some calls out of that.
There you go.
It'll be something pretty cool. Something like this, you know, it's not big enough. Like it's just not big enough to make a call.
Yeah.
I could make a call that way, but I wouldn't necessarily want to. It doesn't look as cool.
Pretty grainy the other way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the pretty stuff. So what I'd probably do is take and shave that down so it looks really nice, and then put something between it. Like here's a piece of ebony, and just slap that right between it, and that would be the call
Mm-hmm.
instead. You know, something like that, or a piece of our ancient Sitka. Have you seen that stuff?
Yeah, yeah, you showed me last time I was here, yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of the projects, or what are some things that you're doing for the Specialty Woods right now?
Actually, we've been working on a house for me over the last
Oh, nice.
few
Yeah,
weeks.
we've been actually
So-
building Brent's house. Alaska Specialty Woods is paying us to do that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Perfect.
no, it's a
Good.
it's a pretty good gig. I mean, you know, we've definitely put in our time, but it's not expected by any means. But it's cool that we have this kind of operation that
Yeah.
you know,
Family
we're all-
business,
it's a
and
family
that's
business, and we're all looking out for each
We're
other.
all looking out for each
So
other.
hopefully the
exactly.
next thing will be a house for Ryan, and then
Nice.
hopefully my dad's house, because his house burned down
Ooh.
3 years ago. So that's why he's living in the apartment right here, him and my mom. We finished that out for him 2 years ago.
Yep. They've been in it 2 years now. Pretty comfy little place, actually.
Yeah,
Where's your place gonna be?
right down below.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, if
Found
it
the
was light out,
compound.
you would have seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was different driving out here. I'd been out here before in the light, and then a little different. Yeah, the turns look the same. Yeah, I don't think you had the. Did you have the sign up there with the light last time?
Yeah, that's been out there. You know, the light's not always on, but I think my dad's got to turn that on.
Yeah.
He was pretty excited about getting that light set up.
Glad it was on because it made it a little
Drove
less.
right past it.
Yeah,
Now, one thing that I can appreciate is this place. You know,
yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah,
dry space in Southeast Alaska is invaluable.
Yeah. Tons of it,
Can't trade it.
ample space.
And the
Where's-
tools.
Yeah, yeah. What are some other hunts that you guys are looking at?
Really want to go to QU and do a moose hunt.
I'd like to do that. I'd love to go do a goat hunt too.
We know not a lot, but we know a few people from Wrangell who've invited us to go on moose hunts up the stream.
Moose meat is so good.
Yes,
It's
it is.
and you just get one of those things and you're set for so long. Man, I absolutely love.
But
to get
a
a
lot
moose.
of guys I've talked to, grew up north, and that's all they hunt is moose. And then they come here and taste deer. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you got it made. Trust me.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, oh, I tried moose, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. That's the nice thing about living here is that you have such a variety.
Yeah.
But traveling in Alaska is so difficult. You can't just drive around. If you're in Anchorage or that area and you're on the road system, you can go up to unit 14 and go for a moose, and then go further and you can do the Hall Road Caribou. It's just a matter of how far you want to drive and can drive.
Yep.
For us, it's a lot more difficult. But you put in for that goat one over in Ketchikan?
No, but that's another one that we really want.
I was putting in for the goat and the elk for Edelin for a little while, and then I kind of fizzled away from that just because not only did I not have time to, even if I was drawn to go do it, but just I wasn't picked. I never got drawn,
Yeah.
and it just kind of like, all right, well, I can't really do that anyway, so maybe when I can actually afford the time, I'll try to do that again.
My second year back here, I do the Edelin elk, and it was one of those weird. The last bit of September, the last 2 weeks were just terrible weather-wise, cold, rainy, and then the first week of October when we went, it was beautiful, and warm. So we flew in pretty high, and then we didn't see anything. We were glassing and nothing. So we figured that, or everyone said, yeah, maybe that really bad weather moved them out of the alpine and out of the timber early, and so, but
Oh, you were hunting alpine for him?
yeah, we're trying to get right in that transition
Yeah.
kind of area, get on
Yeah.
top and then looking down. But yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing really. So I
Hey.
put in for that one again, but I'm put in for the goat. And a buddy of mine was talking about moose hunt up north. That it's bow hunting. So, but it's in August. That's the only time I can really have time to do it.
Right.
So it's with a bow, so it's gonna be a whole other. So
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot more hunting with the bow.
That'd be really interesting.
Shooting a lot, but yeah, it's hard to take a week off in September or October, to go do something else up north, and it's expensive. So
Yeah. It's really hard for us to take time off in June, July, August, September, the months that you're food gathering.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
we'll catch all our fish, hopefully before hunting season starts, so that we don't have to worry about it at all.
yeah,
Because when you start piling halibut on top of, venison, you get your work cut out for you. And we've done that before, you wait until September and shoot, we need some halibut this year, and so then you're crunch time, trying to get some lines out before the weekend or something, so you can go hunting the weekend. Then you got fish to deal with before you
Yeah.
go hunting.
yeah. Good problems to have, though.
Yeah, they are good problems to
It's
have.
true.
Love to get down to Idaho or Montana, those places for elk or mule deer. And those would be a lot of fun, but
I've been going down to California, got some friends in California, and I've been on a couple Colombian blacktail hunts down there with them. wasn't successful, but we weren't trying too hard. But I'd definitely like to get down there and, you know, give it an honest effort.
Yeah.
Bring our calls down, see how they respond to that.
Yeah.
Because we got a couple people that messed around with them on the blacktail, the Colombian blacktail in Washington, Oregon, and California. I mean, they're just as responsive. It's just a matter of how you use them. You know, a lot of people will say, "Yo, man, that just doesn't work." Well, it doesn't work if you're expecting it to bring a deer right to your
Yeah,
lap.
exactly.
You know, that doesn't work. But you know, we use them in the alpine, and if it doesn't call them directly into us, it'll at least stop them when they're running away.
Yeah,
Maybe,
that's
you know,
key right there too.
in September when they start losing their summer coat and you can't see them, it'll make them move so you can actually see them.
A lot of people say, "Well, it only calls in does." Well, during the rut,
Yeah. That's
watch
step-
behind the doe. Yeah.
Yeah, the down south hunts, the amount of people, it's
Totally different ballgame.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you're limited by the area that you have a tag for. So you can't just, you know, drive to another mountain and hike up that. It's just so different. It's spoiled. It'd be hard to go somewhere else and
We got
do
it
that.
pretty good around here.
yeah.
We got it real good around here.
Lots of space to spread out.
And you still have people hiking in on your trail.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's
Sucks
crazy
when
how
it
much.
happens, but-
Yeah, it's crazy how much room we have here, and still people decide to pull up next to you and hike right in the road behind you or something like that.
Yeah. It's see that in Ketchikan a lot. It's such limited road system.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, over in
It's
Ketchikan, you guys
pretty-
have a lot
it's
less
pretty rough.
accessible area, I
Yeah.
guess, when it comes to the road system, and not everybody's got a boat.
Yeah.
It really seemed like Ravina produced a lot of big deer this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. It did.
Well, I guess.
Or wherever. I mean, it just assumed.
Yeah, there were a lot they were getting off. I had a buddy that got a really nice one on the Ketchikan road system. But again, you know, luck, just getting a little bit further. You know, who knows what goes into those things? But
I would.
Well, I think one thing is more people were hunting up there,
yeah.
so you're bound to see more deer.
And you only hear the stories about the people who have the big bucks, so it makes it seem like everyone is getting a buck except
Right.
for you.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah,
you know,
Right.
yeah.
few people are posting about the time that they went out and didn't get anything or didn't see anything and only saw a doe or, you know, so it's misrepresented there. But
It always is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like our wolf situation. It's just always misrepresented. You can't always know everything about what's going on.
yeah, and the more people talk about it, the more it seems like a bigger problem, and more you're in tune to seeing something or hearing something. But yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, you know, the first years, a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, when the wolf issue first came about, I was one that was kind of in denial. Like, come on, guys, it can't be like, it's not the end of the world. It can't be that big of a deal. Well, that was the first year that Ryan and I started actually seeing wolves, and then from then on, it's like
We see them all the time. now.
everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. I mean,
Or we hear them, or we see evidence that they were here
Yeah.
real recently.
they were always like a phantom animal when we
Yeah,
were growing up.
exactly.
You never
Yeah.
saw them. Like if somebody did see one, you're like, "Whoa, that's crazy! You saw a wolf?" Yeah, oh yeah, I saw a whole pack of them. What?
Yeah.
That's wild. But anyway, it's just common.
Yeah.
And that's pretty interesting.
Interesting too how fast they get the quota.
Right.
You know, it doesn't take them very long for a couple trappers to, you know, get that quota pretty much taken care of in
That should be
just
a
matter,
telltale sign.
matter of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can look at they're excellent trappers and they're getting information from all hunters. Say, I saw a pack here, I saw a wolf here, and so they're getting kind of an insight of where to go. But still, you got to get it done. If you're
And we do
still-
have some excellent trappers around.
Yeah, yeah. So there's that plus the insight, but still, you still got to trap them. And if they can still, it's pretty quick to get. What it was 40 wolves or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think it was like
42?
42, 46.
In
I don't know exactly.
4
the
weeks?
exact
A
number.
month?
Oh, last year,
Huh?
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you know, for smart, they talk about educating wolves, and if you know they learn about the traps, they understand. And so if you have these smart wolves that have learned from things, it's
They're not. Yeah, they're not. They're not dumb animals. That's a fact.
you know.
They know what's going on. Should we try some of those?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, break them open.
Any closing thoughts, guys? I'll let you get to finishing these out here. I know you guys have plenty of customers all around Alaska that are waiting for these things.
Oh, we have a pile of people waiting for sure. Feel bad,
I feel
but
bad for them, but
Closing thoughts about the process, making your sales pitch for drop shot calls or for hunting in general.
you know, one thing I can say is that we just really appreciate all the support from everybody. I mean, we don't really expect anything. You know, we don't expect that our calls are the best or anybody should be buying them or anything like that. But people love them, and we can really appreciate all the feedback and all the support that everybody's shown us. We'll just keep trying to do well.
yeah.
Keep trying to make them better and better, and nicer and better.
Thank you.
That rolling stick. Oh,
yeah.
So that casing is like a collagen clip casing. So you can take it off. It's edible, but it's a little bit more enjoyable if you just kind of peel it like that. I think these are our best batch so far. We're making some more of them.
It's from this year, obviously. But
August.
what that? August?
August, September. It's kind of the same apple.
No, you can come in there if you want. But, no. Anything else?
Yeah, no, not really. Just had a good time. Thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out.
Great. Maybe we'll try and do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.